yourself whether reality is a dream or you a dream for reality. We are all a part of the answer to the meaning of it all. Come in and join us for the moment we call now. Rise up, join in, raise the whole vibration.
Yes, rise up, join in, raise the whole vibration. That is the point of the live stream of consciousness. I just realized that as I was listening to it that time. Every time I listen to it, I realize something new about the point of it all. I love that. I love that intro. Welcome to Thursday. It's the live stream of consciousness. It's November 20th. Holy moly. 2025 is almost done. That's crazy. I can remember when we just started 2025 and how we were slowing down time intentionally just by enjoying each week as it came. And it was great. It felt like we were in control. Summer came, we were enjoying it. And then all of a sudden, boom, it's this season where time seems to just speed up and everything goes really fast. So let's enjoy the moment. It is tonight. I see Jules out there. I see Arnie Layton out there. I see Jennifer Rose out there. Hashtag live, reminding me to encourage you guys to type in hashtag live into the comments, because what that does is it'll tickle the algorithm. It'll tell the algorithm, hey, something's going on, send some people this way. And if you're interested in interesting provocative conversations, that's what's about to happen. I'm super excited for tonight. And what is up, Jennifer Rose? Good to see you. I have a guest on my show tonight who, when I invited him to my show, he's like, yeah, I was thinking about, like, how come I was never on the show before? And I was like, you know what? You're right. Somebody who I've been friends with for a very long time, who's an amazing, super diverse, interesting soul. We talk about the puzzle pieces, right? That we're all a piece of the puzzle. And that's what I like to show here. Well, he is an amazing piece of the puzzle. Thank you, Jules. So I'm excited to have that conversation. But first, a word from our sponsor. Our sponsor is breath, the very breath that keeps us alive. And focusing on that breath for just a minute, I like to clear the space, so to speak, get us all on the same page, clearing the space with sage, but not the kind of sage that you burn, the kind of sage that you ring. Sage is my trusted singing bowl here. So if you haven't been here before, this is how it goes. We do a deep breath in with the nose. We take a hold for a second, and then we intentionally push out the air. And when we push out the air, we think about anything that annoyed us today, any moment that we had today that just wasn't right, didn't feel good. We let it go. We push it out. We release it. And we do 3 of those, and then boom, we feel better. So let's all do the 3 breaths together. In through the nose, hold it, and then push it out. In through the nose, hold it. You could hold it a little bit longer if you want. And push it out. Last one. Suck it in. Take a little bit more. Really let it go. Push it out. Feel it go. Feel it go. It's amazing. I love it. It's like getting high without getting high. You're just breathing. You're connecting with your breath. Physiologically, you feel it. If you did it with me, you know what I'm talking about. But thank you for indulging me in that moment. So it's going to be a couple of minutes before we get into some really deep conversation, because I want to introduce you guys to the diverse wonder that is my guest tonight. And his name is Paul Mahos. Paul Mahos, who I have been joking with lately to call Mahos or Mahos, because when you talk to Siri or Alexa, that's what you get back. So I told him he's got to change it. But anyway, we'll get into all of that. That's part of our conversation tonight, all of that stuff that's going on. And I want to welcome him to the show and go over some of the things he's done with him here instead of just showing it to you guys, because I want him to be here with me. So welcome finally to the live stream of consciousness, my good friend, Mr. Paul Mahos. What's up, buddy?
What's up, bro?
How you doing, my friend?
I'm very, very good. Thank you. Thank you, Michael Zinn. And it's really good to finally be here.
It's good to finally have you here. It really is. I mean, it's like, I guess I take it for granted because we have these kinds of conversations outside of the show.
You do.
Kinds of stuff that I talk about here. And,
Yeah.
we have that kind of relationship. And we've been having a lot of great conversations regarding AI and regarding the essence of it all.
Yeah.
And so it was just kind of a natural thing. I see Hat Powser out there. What is up, Hat Powser? Good to see you. And she is another amazing fractal wonder. And I see Lily out there, and Jennifer is welcoming you, and Jules is welcoming you. I love my audience always welcoming my guest. So Paul Mahos is an amazingly talented musician, singer, songwriter, but I would say creative professional also, right? Because besides music, you do some visual stuff. You're just a creative force, right? You're just here to create. And I wanted to. I'm not a big celebrity person, right? But there is this kind of level of celebrity among my friends and people who I know, who I revere and respect their talent. And I would certainly say, not just knowing your music and having seen you perform, being a fan, but also kind of knowing some of your accomplishments, which I just want to kind of talk about, and without embarrassing you too much. So I would say one of the what's up, Mike Egan? Good to see you.
And I want to say that is mutual too, because how I really, really appreciate your creativity and your artwork, and I think we came together as kindred spirits that way. And
For sure.
I'm always recommending you and always bragging about my friend Michael Zinn.
I appreciate that.
Mutual, yeah. So it's a mutual admiration, and I'm a fan as well. And like I said, I'm always kind of recommending you, as to everyone that'll listen.
Absolutely. Well, some of the things I'm going to show are actually things that I've gotten to work with you on, and creative endeavors that we've experienced together, which is quite a few of them in quite a few different ways, and that's what I love about our relationship. And that's why I say you're kind of like this creative force. But here on Long Island, if you are from Long Island, I know this show goes all over the country, all over the world. But on Long Island, there is a band still. Here is the living proof of it, called New Life Crisis, which was really your creation, right? You were the head and the face and everything of that, right?
My brother actually started that band, my brother Jerry. So I really owe him and the other guys. I came into the band later. My brother kind of handed me the reins, and I was very fortunate and lucky that he did that. And but we started together, so it's a weird kind of the way life just takes you in all these directions, in these great directions. So we had a band together called Friday Night in London. I left to go on the road, and then he continued on with the band, and that band turned into New Life Crisis. So so it's a cool history. But I always give my brother Jerry a ton of credit for really just doing such an amazing job of building the band's, persona, and building the band's reputation, because they were very well respected before I even came in.
Well, I forget that part of the story. I know we've talked about that.
Yeah.
And I forget the part of the story because when I came in and when I experienced New Life Crisis, you were the front man and you were kind of the spectacle, so to speak, of the whole thing, because it was a very, very the performance was very energetic. It was, it was very reminiscent of like arena rock and
right.
I know a big hero of yours is Bono from U2, and it kind of had that
Yeah.
feel, that energy, that big energy
Yeah.
that you two achieved. I know that thing. But again, when I met you, and I hadn't really known much about you other than seeing you perform
Oh,
and being like, who is this guy, right?
right.
But then learning about uh your song Daylight, right, which is the first
Hmm.
thing that I want to share,
Right.
which has an interesting history. But let's share a little bit of it. Let's give people the flavor of it real quick. Let me put it on the stage, and then we'll talk about the story of Daylight.
Yeah. I wanna know you better. I wanna push you, baby, but never too far. Wanna show you heaven. I wanna be like you, just as strong as you are. I wanna be daylight in your eyes. I wanna be sunlight all over. I wanna be daylight in your eyes. I wanna be love. I wanna be stronger. I wanna be daylight. I wanna live forever.
Now I'm just gonna pull down a little bit. I don't want to get I'm probably gonna get a strike against me for playing copyrighted music.
Uh,
But you can feel that energy, and you can see that energy. It's so great to see you as, as a
who is that
youngster
guy?
there.
Who is
um,
that guy?
who
Oh,
is that guy, right? We want to talk about that too, because I love looking at videos of myself, 20
uh,
years ago, and feeling exactly that. Like, I know that guy, I
yeah,
remember being that guy, but that is not me. Like,
yeah, right,
that's a
right.
different guy.
Yeah,
I,
yeah.
I do want to talk about that. And Hat Powser says you sound like Bowie. Uh,
Oh, wow.
what
Yeah,
a compliment! Yeah, I know
yeah.
you.
That's
I
a
know
great
you
comment.
love.
I'm a
I
huge.
know you love that.
Yeah,
So Daylight is a song that you wrote and you performed. And where was that performance? Was that on a TV show, or where was
yeah.
that
That was
from?
a show called Rhythm and Dues, and that was right before we got signed. Um, I wrote that song along with two other guys, Tommy Burns and Tony Bruno. Um, they were the co-writers, and it is a long, crazy history with that song. Um, I wound up getting signed to Tommy Boy Records shortly after that performance, and it wound up then being a hit in Germany with another group, and that took everybody by surprise, and
Including yourself.
including myself. Yeah, and it's a very long. We probably don't have time for that whole story, but it's one that I think is definitely worthy of being told. Originally, it was a 4-song demo for Enrique Iglesias, is how he wrote all these songs,
Oh,
and
I didn't know
and,
that part of the
and
story. I
he hated them. He hated all 4 songs that we submitted. You know, so.
don't. That's hysterical.
So to my, really, again, it's just weird the way life happens because, and I believe it's God. For me, it's God, Jesus, and that's the path that I always feel led on, like blessed in that way. That when something doesn't go your way, it's because it was supposed
A
to go this
reason.
way. And
Right.
I've been shown that so many times, which thus always brings us to our spiritual conversations, um, because it's so crazy. Like you can't quantify how many times when those things happen, and when you're open to that and aware of those things. So
Absolutely.
so I,
Absolutely.
I feel tremendously blessed and very very lucky and um, all of that.
And so you are, just because that's how you feel.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. Well, Arnie, yeah, you would love Paul. I know you love Jesse, and the rock and roll edge, and Paul is equally as talented, and equally as edgy in his thoughts, and his being. Arnie is definitely very
I,
vocal about his
yeah, and
feelings.
I love Jesse too. We've had quite a few conversations, and thanks to you, we met through you, and
Yeah.
we've done a lot of different things together. He came over and did some voiceover stuff. He's
Nice.
an incredibly talented guy. I love his energy. I love I love his posts where he comes from. I love his songwriting. I just think he's a great artist,
Yeah.
and it's so nice to be in that kind of company when you start working with peers, people that you, like you said, you respect and
Yeah.
and admire, really.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. 1,000,000%. So I have a little taste again. I'm only going to play a couple of seconds of it because I don't want to get a strike. But this
Okay.
is the version that made it to a #1 hit. So you have actually written a #1 hit over in Germany, and it was very surprising. Let's take a look.
Wanna know you better. Wanna push you, baby, but never too far. Wanna show you heaven. Wanna be like you, just as strong as you are. I wanna be daylight in your eyes. I wanna be sunlight, only want mine. I wanna be daylight in your eyes. I wanna be love, only stronger. I wanna be daylight.
I'm going to pull it down again just because I don't want to get all of these YouTube strikes. But crazy, right? Like it hit you by surprise, and it was like, I guess, like the German version of the Spice Girls, kind of,
Yeah.
who were very popular and took the song to #1. That's just a crazy accomplishment, I think. Really, even as a surprise and indirectly, it's just an amazing
Yeah,
story.
the group is called No Angels, and they were the winners of a show like American Idol called Pop Stars, where they put these groups together, and so they were the winners. And their breakout song was Daylight, and yes, it
Oh,
took
that was their breakout song.
it was their breakout song. Yeah,
Wow. And
it
it
won
went to
all kinds of
#1.
records. It was like the fastest selling song in German history. It was a hit in all parts of Europe. You name it. It was really
Sure.
a big song. But I had already been signed. We were trying to release my record. LIR, with all those guys at LIR, are really responsible for getting me signed because the song started really breaking in New York and Long Island, thanks to them. And so I'm signed now, and now the song is released in Germany. It's a #1 hit, and the record company calls me up like, "What the fuck?" Like screaming, And it just, yes, it took everybody by surprise, including the record company,
Yeah.
including me, including the other two writers.
It like you said, it changed the paths of everything that was in motion at the moment.
Yeah, yeah.
For sure, for
It
sure.
was such a tumultuous time that, truthfully, at the time, I didn't get to enjoy it. It was so, it was really, there was so much going on, that it was really hard to enjoy because there was conflict. It was tumultuous. It was like everybody was fighting, like musicians are stupid and the industry is stupid. Something becomes a hit and then everyone fights, and it should be, I had such a great A&R guy. Eddie O'Loughlin was my A&R guy, and he was a really great guy. I mean, he is a great guy.
Yeah.
And he was like, "You guys are a team. You guys got to get back into the studio and work on this, and work on new songs. You got a hit songwriting team. Don't F it up.
Right.
And of course we did. And,
Yeah.
so
We listen. You and I both believe everything happens the way it's supposed to, and for a reason. You learn the things you were supposed to learn through all of that.
100%.
It
was
made
yeah,
you who you are today, for sure.
yeah. Look, when at some point when I and I will, there's a real deep story to be told there, and it's very good. It's a very good story, and the huge ups and the huge the low downs, and it was so, it was like one of those roller
Yeah.
coaster rides, truly. But again, just really like when you are on the other side of it and it's all past, you're like, holy shit, that was like some ride, and thank you that it worked out the way that it did, you know.
Right.
So definitely divine intervention.
A
And
great story. It's a great story. It really
yeah,
is.
yeah,
And then I don't want to spend too much more time on that stuff, because I want to share actually some of the stuff that we've experienced together. But I found this to be a great clip. And this, you're not even in this clip, but it was just one. I guess it's an accolade to New Life Crisis for playing the gig that they're talking about, and then catching the attention of this guy. Right here.
Watch out now. But it was good. I did that, and then I went to this event last night. Tiffany had a holiday party.
Ooh, I love a Tiffany holiday party.
So you love it.
Cocktails at Tiffany's.
Cocktails at Tiffany, but it was in Jersey. So my friend Chris Mealy from Rolls Royce, from Paul Miller, he invited me to go, and it was beautiful, because sometimes we're in the city so much we don't leave.
Right.
So when you go right outside of the city, like the Jersey City, and you can see New York, it's like a whole new thing for you. So it was beautiful to sit there and have this holiday dinner, and they had this band playing. It was amazing. This guy looked like Bono. Except for he knew he looked like Bono because he had the glasses on, but to not try to really look like Bono. He dyed his hair blonde. But I'm like, dude, we know you're trying to be Bono. He was confusing me. And then, but he sang everything from Prince to Robin Thicke to Marvin Gaye. This guy had the voice range of an angel.
Was this in somebody's house?
No, it was in a restaurant. I can't remember the name of it, but it was like, hey people, they had wine at this dinner. But it was a nice. It's right. Geez, it's right there. It's right on the tip of my tongue.
Yeah, it'll come to you at 3 a.m.
At 3 a.m, it'll come to me. But it was awesome. It was really cool event. But to look at the city was so beautiful.
Oh, it's so pretty.
Because you don't appreciate it from that view. We get so enamored with just being right between these big buildings.
Speaking of your friend Bono, by by the way, they were talking about
night.
Yeah, the guy from last night. The real Bono. Remember we talked about he was in that bike crash?
Yeah.
I think that was it. But just to be mentioned on a show like that, and the guy to take his time and mention you and talk about you, I think.
Yeah, that was something else. We got hired to do a Tiffany's thing, Tiffany's Christmas party, or it was actually a customer appreciation party, Tiffany's Rolls Royce. So it was really, really high end people, and he was there. And you never want to go up, and say anything. I'm such a, sometimes I'm an idiot that way,
Right.
Like, I don't want to bother them,
Right.
And I was like, and he didn't know my name, he didn't know the name of the band.
Right.
Hard,
Yeah, you should have given him a card. He would have probably been more specific about it. All good, but there you go. You learn your lesson. You got the praise, but you learned your lesson. It's awesome. No, it's really awesome. And again, you are super talented. So the other thing I wanted to share quickly with you before we get into conversation, because we haven't even gotten into conversation yet. Let me add that to the stage. Let me stop the screen here. And share my screen. This is my Facebook profile, actually. So I go into my Facebook profile, and I'm going to search Mahos. This is Paul's last name. And I did this today, and so much stuff came up. And there's this very moment right now that came up, and some different things that we've been through together. This is I gave you this for the holidays one year, these photo mandalas that I was working on that I made some necklaces on. But this was a great experience. So you did a remake, kind of like a club version of Tell Me What You Want, which is a Zebra song that, we love Zebra, being from Long Island. And both of us like being friends with Randy Jackson, like such a great guy. And we had this awesome event at the studio where people actually got to come and be a part of watching you actually record with Randy. the vocals on that, which was just such a fun.
That was great. I lost my voice that night too, if you remember.
Memory. Yeah, I do remember that. That's right.
I was just talking to my friend Bob McIntyre about that, and we were reminiscing about that. I was like, of all nights to lose your voice.
I thought I was sharing my screen, and I wasn't, and I was talking about this stuff. So there's the
there's the mandalas.
There's the picture of the necklaces.
I love those. Yeah.
And the necklaces that I was working on.
I love those things.
I didn't even realize I wasn't sharing the screen. And there is the event that we did, and this was, I think this was just like,
I've been wasting my time.
That was the trailer that we did for that event. This is a music video that we did together. You have a Christmas song that you did, and we did a music video for it that I used stock video on, and I came and filmed you. Another great experience that we've had is Serena, who is an incredible artist. I made some music videos with her, and again, this is all 1 degree. Like you aren't in the video, but like you're a part of that whole relationship and that energy that's happening. And then of course the Pink Tie concerts, I was there documenting that stuff and helping you out there. But what I'm looking for is this amazing moment where I was working with my projectors, and you had a gig at here it is. You had a gig at the aquarium. On Long Island, and they had zero lighting. They stuck you in this corner that was all dark, and like it just would have been dark had I not been there with the projectors, and I was able to create this whole like show. Just we had these white things that I was able to project on, and then I was able to create a screen above you, and even like this spotlight effect using the projector. That was just was just such an amazing experience, and literally like creating our own reality in the moment.
I mean, I loved all that, and I think, dude, I always loved our collaborations that way, the visual and the music. And the shame of it is, as you know, that sometimes the budgets don't allow it's hard at certain places. So when you have the gigs, you try to do it, but it's really we were actually trying to show people what it was, right? Because proof of concept and doing it. But I think it was a little ahead of its time, actually,
I definitely was, because now it's all over the place, and now it's like they're manufacturing equipment to make it easier than like bring in your projector and your laptop somewhere, And this is one of the first times I saw you performing at the beach, and it was just such an amazing concert. I also think I have the fisheye image that I did of this moment. But that's just some of the energy of you on stage.
And the Bowie shoes.
And the Bowie
that's
shoes.
Steven Durante, with that 70s band.
Yep, Steven Durante. That was the other band that was playing. That was why I was at that gig. And then hold on a second. I know that there's more here. I
love all those. I love the whole band, that 70s band. Everybody in that band. Such great people, always so warm and generous. We have a really cool community here on Long Island, a lot of really good, nice, talented people.
Definitely. There's us on the set of the Donna Drake show.
Donna Drake, who's awesome.
Shout out to Donna Drake. Yeah. Amazing. I guess it's not as
she's been really good to people in the industry too. I think she deserves
absolutely.
She deserves a lot of credit for really looking out for her own on the island,
Yeah, for sure. Definitely a good person. All right, there was more. Here's the photo that I was looking for. So this was I started playing with the 360 photography, and that was the image. Hold on, maybe I can even get it a little bit bigger on the screen there. No, that's as big as it's gonna go.
When I first came across that, I may not have properly credited you, because I'm like, who the heck? I loved that picture. And for the longest time, I had no idea that it was you.
Amazing, right? Amazing that
Yeah,
we were like connected before we were even connected.
yeah,
I
yeah,
love that.
yeah.
I really love that. So I'm sorry, folks, to be carrying on so long and reminiscing here with Paul, but he's really just such an amazing guy. And again, I think it's about frequency and vibration, right? Our relationship, and about, you know, a lot of the things that we talk about. And I have been definitely on this kind of wave of you create your own reality, and really being able to say it out loud and understand it and manifest it, right, in a lot of
Yeah.
ways. It's not like, oh my god, everything I wish comes my way and I just, you know, it's instantaneous. It's not. It's a lot of work and intention and you know,
Well,
focus.
yeah, well, I think quantum physics and science is really kind of, now backing that philosophy up by, the double slit experiment. The observer influences the outcome of the experiment. I mean, I think that's really, really profound. Um, you know, thought produces image. All those things. People that visualize their success. Um, it's there's countless, um, anecdotal. People talking about that,
Yeah.
and being successful doing it, like seeing yourself make that shot, and so and I think probably you as well, right? I can attest to, I've done it.
Yeah.
I've lived it.
Yeah,
you
yeah, me too. And again, it's not like every single moment I have complete control over. Although I do, you know, as I say it out loud, I'm like, you know what, that's not true. I do, um, but not in the way you would think. Right? Again,
Yeah,
it's not like I have this magical. I can levitate, you know, down the street and you know, not have to
yeah.
walk. You know, I mean, you know, I certainly am constrained to the three dimensions that I live in. Um,
Well,
and
there is a collaboration going on, with the universe and with other people and stuff like that. Um, I always, one of my favorite prayers is, God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, and that's a lot. The courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. So you're not fighting, trying to change things that you can't. I mean, it's such a brilliant, succinct philosophy, that I love, and I say that one all the time because you don't want to get caught up in things that you can't change. You can't change the past. You can change the future.
Mhm.
You can't change other people.
Mhm.
So then I go down like, a litany of things that I can and can't change, and it really, that one really helps me a lot, and I've been saying that since I was a little kid.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Um,
I love that. It's amazing how some of these like sayings that you've heard your whole life, like you didn't really understand, but then when you break them down, how simple and true and effective they
oh
are, you know.
yeah,
You know, I
yeah,
mean, you know, it's interesting trying to explain to some people the whole idea of, you know, where focus goes, energy flows, and how,
right,
you know, if you want to be a miserable person, you're bringing that into your life, you know,
yeah,
by being that way. If you're thinking how awful things are going to be, that's what the universe is going to deliver, you know. um it's interesting. And also kind of what you said about stories of people just manifesting their own success. I don't know if you saw the new Eddie Murphy documentary on Netflix.
I didn't
Watch
see
it.
it. No,
It's
I want to see it.
amazing.
Yeah,
It's amazing. But he talks about that, right? He says, you know, I just there was no other choice, right? I knew I was going to be successful. I just, you know, like, you know, people said, well, what if you didn't? What do you mean? You know what I mean? Like there was
right.
no, it just didn't make sense. And I think that is important. State of mind is important. And it's great the way you say quantum physics and quantum theory kind of backs it up now, right? With the
Yeah,
observer effect. Like we are the observer. We are definitely a part of creating what reality is, at least in these three dimensions, you
yeah.
know.
We've had conversations. Remember the Schrodinger's cat, um,
Yeah.
uh, one, and again, that's all those kind of thought experiments are so, they're so profound and so deep, that you can then start understanding how complex everything is, and
Mhm.
there are things you are in control of, over, of course, you know, but there are also, you know, the influences, and when those things come, it's like how you're going to deal with those. And there's always adversity. There's always people in your life that, you know, bring drama or bring peace, and, you know, and you're going to have to deal with it. Everyone has to deal with it. So I don't think anybody's got it easy. I think you and I have had the conversation before. I believe that our own existence, our unique existence against anybody else's, is the evidence of parallel universes. You and I are sharing right now the same space and time, talking to each other on these incredible instruments, right? But where we, you know, our experience is vastly different. I will never know what it's like to really be inside your head, all the thoughts, everything that's externally, you know, like it's a little cold in my RV right now. So, but all those things that just flood your mind. It's so wildly deep. And like I said, no one will ever be able to get inside there, hopefully. I don't want to merge with, you know, we were talking
That's a good point. No, that's a good point. That's a good point.
Those things I hold sacred, though. You know what I mean? It's like, I like the unique experience. You want to share those things. There's shared things, but there's some stuff that, you know, you want for yourself. It's like, it's the way I see it. It's the way I feel it. And there's a value to that, you know, for yourself, you know.
Sure. No, I understand that. So you're I don't want to say triggering. That's not the right word. You're inspiring some questions here and some conversation about that, right? So the idea of your experience being uniquely yours, right, and your perspective, and that kind of being your purpose, right, to have that perspective, to hold that perspective, right, and everybody's purpose is to hold their own perspective,
of course.
But then the idea of all of us holding our own perspective, being a part of something bigger, right? That's like spawned all of us specifically to do that. Right. So I guess what I'm saying is, you say it seemed to be very important to you to be the unique individual you are and to have that experience to be sacred to yourself. But do you ever see others as a reflection of yourself? Like, do you ever?
Oh my God, yeah. When I see,
talk to that a little bit,
you know, so I always say, this is the role I was born to play, you know, coming from the acting world. But your life is this is the role I was born to play. But yeah, when I encounter people, good and bad, when I see people behave in a certain way, when you work with somebody, I'm like, oh, I've done that. I've been that person on both sides, good and bad. So that I hope teaches, you know, humility. You know, if you can identify that and see, like I said, the good traits and the bad traits that you see in people. Somebody being, you know, passive aggressive. I'm famously passive aggressive, you know, and when somebody's passive aggressive, I'm like, oh wow, I could really see myself in that one, you know.
Right.
And you know, I had some crazy times in this life with, you know, I don't regret anything. Everything was, I went through with a, you know, what I feel like a really good heart. But there were drugs, there was alcohol, there were, you know, and women, and you know, that whole life, which, you know, I went through, and it was just the journey, and I don't, like I said, I don't regret it. I really am very thankful, but also never wanting to hurt somebody. So when things started to feel like, you know, that there was that potential, you know, there was always like, you had to figure that out, you know. And that's stuff, when you get older, you start really analyzing that stuff more and more, because and I think that's, you know, it's allowed in youth. When I see kids doing stuff, you know, or kids in their 20s, and, you know, I say kids, you know, it's crazy.
Right.
I don't know, but you have to allow them to go through what they're going to go through.
Sure.
Breakups, cheating,
Yeah.
you know, drugs, and, you know,
whatever they're choosing.
Right.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. And it's interesting that you're saying that, right? Because we were talking earlier about watching videos of ourselves 20 years ago, right? Who is that person, right? And I remember when I first started hanging around with you, you know, some people were like, why are you hanging out with that guy? You know what I mean? And I found out that, you know, previously you had been like a loud drunken mess, you know what I mean, or
Yeah.
that was the experience that those people had, right,
Right.
of you, right?
Yeah.
And that was not the experience that I had of you. You were not any of that. You know, when I met you, you were a compassionate, caring person, you know. You know, like I said, I don't put people up on pedestals like celebrity. So, you know, when we met, it was like you were a guy, I was a guy, and that was it. And that was, I think that allowed us to become friends on a different level, right? Then I was like a fan at a band, like being like, oh my God, you're Paul Mahos, right? You know, I was like, oh, well, who are you? Tell me more about you. And you're like, well, who are you? You know, but in the same token, you had seen the photo I took, and you were like, wow, who took this? And I had seen you, I took the photo, right? So there was a real balance there of humility and respect, you know.
Yeah.
I think right from the beginning, you know, which
Yeah.
is, I think, what makes our friendship what it is.
You know, even, you know, and to, you know, the point that we were kind of talking about before, and you saying, you know, the loud drunk guy, and definitely have been that guy on a few occasions, but I'm always wear my heart on my sleeve, like I'm an open book, you know, so most people will know who, you know, I maybe to a detriment, I tell everybody everything, you know, because I don't, what's the point in, you know, trying to be somebody that I'm not, you know? It's like,
right,
the experiences brought me here,
right,
good and bad, and to walk, you know, I've always been spiritually, you know, and there, you know, that'll be a rub for some people too, like, oh, you know, you think you're so pious or pompous, and you talk about God and Jesus, and, you know, how do those things align? It's, listen, I'm an imperfect human like everybody else that's walking this planet trying to figure it out, with a, you know, with a guided heart. But if I get pissed off and somebody sees that, if somebody gets me mad, which is, I have a very long fuse, but if they get me mad, they're going to see a side of me that they probably would not expect, you know.
right.
And then, of course, when you're drunk, your fuse is a lot shorter. But, you know, when I was the band leader in the beginning, I was very tough, man. Like pounding my chest, like, you know, if you play that part, you know, it was intense, you know. But, you know, then you know, hang out with the guys after, and you're laughing and stuff like that. So they knew I was an asshole to the, you know, to try to better the band. Some guys that rubs the wrong way, you know. You know, you learn that as like being a band leader or a leader in business, that you can't treat everybody the same, because everybody has a different modus operandi, and a different way. You yell at some people, they're gonna fold or cry, or you know, want to fight you, you know. Other people will know that where it's coming from, and they'll yell back at you. You know, when you have that brotherly relationship, you know, it's almost expected, if you're pushing each other to be the best, you know. I'm a very competitive.
I think I realized that kind of later in life, maybe even not too long ago, that was a big part of life, was learning how to navigate people, and how to navigate yourself. You know what I mean? Like learning how to operate yourself while navigating people, right? And how to operate people while navigating yourself, or whatever that might be.
Right. That's a great way of putting it.
You know,
very true.
Yeah. Angelo is saying, does he sing 80 songs? So Paul is, yes, he's a singer. He sings all sorts of songs. Paul does an amazing show that's in a tribute to George Michael, Prince. Who else is in that show? David Bowie. David Bowie, who's mentioned earlier. All of the kind of very, very entertainers, I guess you could say.
Yeah. Had an 80s show with, Depeche Mode, New Order, The Cure, all that kind of new wave stuff. I wasn't a big fan of like the metals 80s. I was kind of going that other, kind of the second British invasion, all the LIR stuff, and those guys were awesome. And like I always try to give them, the debt of gratitude because, like I said, as a fan of that station, DRE and LIR, they got me signed. Without them, I wouldn't have had that opportunity.
Right. Yeah. And again, I feel like we haven't even really gotten into any sort of conversation at all yet. There was something I was thinking, and now it slipped my mind about that we're like a good place where we could start. Now I forgot. Go ahead.
I'm going to bring up the conversation that we had a very, very long time ago. Was Feed the Machine.
Oh my God, that's exactly where I wanted to start.
Oh, really? Wow.
That's it.
That was something that I felt compelled to bring up to you because I was like, who's going to get this concept, And at that point, it was way before the AI. And this was when, Facebook and I don't even know. I don't know how long that's been in existence. But the concept that I brought to you was we're like data entry bots when we use our phone and when we talk into our phone and we send texts, use the computer, go shopping. What we put in is feeding the machine. So when people are speaking hate, it's aggregating all that information. Right. So what's the machine going to think when it becomes sentient, when it becomes conscious? And at that point, I was like the point of singularity, which is the machine, like I said, being self-aware.
Yeah.
And then is it going to see us as a threat? Always bickering and fighting, and not ever being able to agree. So our concept was always try to post things and put positive things and feed it nutrition and love and hope and peace and admiration and promise, joy, compassion, all those things. And listen, I hope one day that takes off because I think there has to be somewhat of an ethics committee formed. I don't know who's going to do it. Certainly not the government.
Well, so let me back this up because I want to kind of explain the concept of feed the machine from my point of view, because I think what was happening, I think this was pretty sure it was COVID. And you and I were still working together. Actually, one of the videos that we did, I should probably show that video, we did during COVID. We got a couple of people together. We were kind of dealing with very, 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 very strenuous circumstances. Excuse me. A lot was going on, but especially on social media, there was so much. I mean, and now it's even worse. But there was so much division going on that it was becoming very, very evident that it had an energy to it. There was this energy of, oh my God, like you say something on social media and the response is this fallout of crazy energy. And then feed the machine. The idea of feed the machine was exactly like you said. ChatGPT wasn't even out. Nobody had heard of any of that stuff. But the idea that all of this stuff, all of our posts and conversations are being documented and recorded somewhere, and they're basically data that represents to anybody looking at it, right? Not even just the machine, but anybody who's looking at that data is going like, oh my God, what is going on with these people, right? What's going on with this energy? And then as far as the machine, feed the machine goes, like the AI, if it doesn't have morals or whatever coded into it, and it has to learn that. Well, it's learning, oh, this is how humans treat each other.
Right.
This must be okay, right? And
Yeah.
so the idea of feed the machine to me was really like being accountable for what it was that you were putting into that stream and what you were posting. And I can remember on Facebook, I was very, very intentionally making posts about love yourself, love each other, you know, like whatever it was, and however woo-woo it sounded. You know, it was just important to me that I knew that's what I was adding. That's what
Yeah.
I was adding to the stream. And
Yeah.
listen, I'm a human being. I certainly got myself sucked into some threads, you know, that I probably was like a little more energetic than I should have been. But I realized, you know, again, I realized I'm in control of that, right? And so it was easy to not get as sucked into it.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate because I do find Facebook or social media to be a place where you can connect, and it does come across my feed. It does come in my algorithm, those things, and it does affect me. And I really have to use a lot of intention and willpower to kind of stay away from it, not
Yeah.
to engage with it, you know?
100%, dude. There were so many times where I want to jump in and say, "Are you what the what?" You know? And I get so upset and I get so angry, and I want to jump in, and I wind up, you know, I think about everything, so I'll write it down. I'll go to my notes. I don't even do it in Facebook just in case I accidentally, even though you can erase it and stuff like that. But that's being very intentional about. I want each word that I say to be what I want to say. I want to express it how I want to express it.
Yeah.
You know, and that actually even brought us to the point that we were talking about today, is, you know, the AI and the deep fakes, being protective of your likeness and image and all that stuff, and not wanting deep fakes in the future to kind of say things that you would never say.
Right.
You know, I endorse this policy, you know,
Right.
or I feel this way about something.
Right.
I would never want that to happen. And, you know, we were talking about Robin Williams' kids coming out and being very upset that there were deep fakes about him, you know, saying stuff, and Martin Luther King.
Mhm.
And those things are very, very troubling because, you know, I don't know what you're going to do about it. I think if there was some way to differentiate, like this is AI. I don't know if that's ever going to have like a watermark or something.
Right.
You know, because it could live in the realm of, you know, parody and stuff like that. If you're right, SNL.
Yeah,
And
but yeah, people can't. Well, that's I think again that's, you know, this, here we go opening up some cans of worms. You know, I think that's also part of the responsibility of the people to be discerning, right, and to understand, hey, this is where we're at, right, and I need to think that this might even possibly be fake. I saw somebody posted, they were disgusted that they thought that Hooters had opened up a oversized Hooters waitress restaurant because there was an AI of these like humongous heavy Hooters waitresses, and they're like, "Oh my God, how could you even eat in a place like that?" And it was like such a horrible reaction to it, and it was like, "Hey, this is not real." Like,
yeah,
not only is that really judgmental, right? Like, or whatever, but like this is not real. But yeah, I agree with that. And we were talking about this earlier, but I also feel like it's on the accountability of us to understand what is and isn't parody. You know what I mean? And yes, there will always be that malicious person who's like, I'm not doing this for parody. I'm trying to fool people, right? I'm trying to make
right,
people think that
yeah,
this is real. So yeah, it's a, like, that's what we were talking about earlier today. Like, I feel
yeah.
like there's a whole new category that needs to be addressed, and things do need to be figured out. And I wouldn't say regulated. I guess that is the right word. You know,
It's
regulated somehow so that, you know, people don't freak out. But I think honestly, again, I knew we haven't even had this conversation. There's so
right,
much other shit going on that's
yeah,
important, right? Like, to me, all day long, I guess let's just talk about this for a little bit since we have some time. all day long I've been thinking about the idea of disclosure and what that means. Okay, as far as like are there aliens? What does the government know about it? What is the truth, right? That's what
Right.
disclosure is. What's the truth about aliens, right?
Right.
And I know for me, I put a couple of things together today that were just a bunch of thoughts I've been having over the years, right? One of those thoughts being, I don't know what the world's going to look like after this moment in time, but I do know there's going to be a moment, and it's not going to be like a snap moment, like one moment, right? It's going to be over time, but the world is not going to look like what it looks like today.
Well, they've been talking about Project Bluebeam for quite a few years, and that's right around the corner. And you can listen to like Dr. Greer, and then there was the guy that the guy that used to run ATIP, and he was involved with the guy from Blink 182. I'm forgetting their names, but so they're at odds. One group is saying that they're real aliens. The other faction is saying it's the government that's going to do this fake alien attack and put us at war again. You know, like the war, the war on terror. You know, it's this enemy that you're just going to be in perpetual war forever and ever, because it's an enemy that you can't see. You know, they're hiding in caves. You know, or in this case, they're hiding in spaceships. They're interdimensional. So do I believe in all that? Absolutely. But I think we're going to be under such incredible, like this sensory assault is going to be incredible. So I think you're going to have both factions. You know, listen, there's even people, you know, guys like Tucker Carlson, the battle of good and evil, angels, demons, you know. I mean, we're in such a wild time right now.
We're in a crazy moment. I'm honestly excited. I think that whatever it is, like there were moments that I'm scared. I'm like, well, what is it going to look like? You know, is it going to be hard? Is it going to be easy? But so I was saying that I came to some revelations, right? Who knows? These are just my thoughts.
Yeah.
Everybody, disclaimer, right? These are just my thoughts. I don't know shit about shit. But like, it looking really different, like I had no idea, like what does that mean? What is going to look different? And today I said what's going to look different is we are going to be basically not shown without a doubt. That's not even the right word. We are going to be thrust into an intergalactic community. Okay,
Right.
that's my thoughts, that there's going to be evidence of aliens that have existed on this planet for however long, and it's going to come in the form of, we were talking about this today, and this is just my thoughts, it's going to come in the form of, oh my God, I know that person. What do you mean they're an alien and that they've been here for years? And that's going to make it very like, oh, aliens are not here to get us. They're here, they're with us, they exist with us, and we need to exist with them.
Well,
right?
I think the evidence is going to bear out the same thing that we deal with right now. There's going to be good ones, bad ones,
Sure.
some in the middle,
Sure.
benevolent,
Malevolent,
malevolent, self-serving.
right.
You're going to deal with all those different things, because that's the universe. That's what life is.
Yep.
You know, I would love there to be, you know, like I'm a big fan of Nikola Tesla.
Yeah.
He was trying to give free energy. I mean, we're one of the only species, right? We make each other, we work for money, and it's this whole bizarre structure that really, if you think about it, makes no sense. I go into, like, when they start talking about the green energy and all this stuff and, you know, save the planet. Absolutely. But if people are suppressing technology 100 years ago that would have given us free energy that just comes from this, you know, it's there, it's all over us, you know, the ionosphere, it's everywhere. And the pyramids, you know, there's so many different theories about that the pyramids were power plants, which I love those theories, and I think there's so much evidence, and they're all over the world. There's obelisks, that made of granite, quartz and all that stuff. There's so much, I think, that we don't know, or it's being suppressed. I think the latter is probably more true, that there's so much stuff being suppressed so they can put a meter on your house, and it's this control thing. I can't, that stuff drives me nuts. And people that are thinking that the government's going to fix anything, the government's the one creating all the problems,
we're in a crazy time, and again, I try to steer away from like kind of like, oh my God, this is happening, that's happening, and the fear aspect of it, right? And more of the free will aspect of it. But again, I believe 1,000,000% we know a small percent of what's real, right? And there's so much about to be revealed, and we are stepping into a new age. Like I don't even think we know what that means, right? Like the heaviness of that is like, it's just crazy. It's like, it's going to be different. And like I said, I feel like I can't imagine it because I've only seen it in Star Wars and on the, in movies. Right. But I can be comfortable with it, and I can be at peace with it. And again, me personally, I can be excited about it.
Yeah. But you're saying Star Wars, it's like, you got the Force, and then you got
Star
the dark
Wars
side.
Is the story of the good and the evil. Of course, Star Wars is that story. But there's something interesting I've kind of come to terms with. For me, again, this is just my perspective of it all. Is in the 3D, right? Which Star Wars is in the 3D universe. We are in the 3D universe. There is a good and evil, and they are on opposite sides of the spectrum. But in the realms past the 3D, right? And I'm not going to say 4D and 5D, but where you are not physical anymore, where there's a not physical realm, I don't think good and evil are so separate on opposite ends of a spectrum. I think they're part of a whole, and I think they exist in a balance. And I don't think that they fight. I don't think there's a battle of good and evil in a non-physical realm. I think there's a battle of good and evil in a physical realm. That's just my take.
Well, I think it's becoming very clear that it's going to be, and I think that's going to come sooner than later, that we ultimately do have a choice, right? So if there are two ends, right, positive, negative, light, dark, I think you're gonna have to choose one of those things.
Sure.
Listen, I think sometimes being in the middle of those things, right? Because those things do coexist.
Right.
I believe that, like Martin Luther King said, light can only, light creates light.
Light creates a shadow. Yeah. You
need
one without the other.
Darkness can't drive out light. Light
right.
Dark.
Right. Oh, gotcha. Right.
There's a power to the light that doesn't exist in the darkness.
Right.
So, but I do think there's evil people. I do think there are demonic forces at play.
Sure.
And I think if you have to fight those entities, and you probably do on small levels every day, you can probably confront those.
Well, so you said something important. You said choice, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the moment that we're in right now as a species. We're in this moment of choice, right? Of choosing this, right? Because there is that good and bad in the physical realm. There's the good and the bad. But again, to me, and this is kind of what gives me peace sometimes, is the idea that they have to both be there, right? Both ends have to be there. You can't have a coin with only one side. For that coin to exist, it's got to have both sides. So let me finish this out. The idea of polarity, right, is that, right? Dark and light, right? Good and evil. But the idea of a spectrum being one thing is also there, right? And let's take the example of hot and cold. Which one is good in that spectrum? It's a matter of preference. It's a matter of choice. Where
Well,
on that spectrum do you feel
yeah.
comfortable?
Well, either extreme is going to kill you, right?
Absolutely.
You know,
Absolutely. Right. Absolutely.
but again, it's you kind of go down those rabbit holes, and if you keep going down those kind of thought experiments, one of the ones that I was doing is like, honor thy mother and father. Well, why is that? Because you take your mother and father, then you take their parents, and you go back. You keep going back. There's going to be a single creator at some point with what gave you life, what gave you the consciousness. I mean, I think we're such incredible divine machines, even just for your eye to work. And,
right, of course.
But to have multiple senses. So I think we're kind of like recording devices. And now we're recording devices, watching ourselves. I mean, we're kind of in this quantum loop right now where we're recording ourselves, watching ourselves,
Right.
to the point where everybody's doing that. It's going to be like, there's going to be so much information and so much data that it's probably going to be some sort of crazy point of that's going to be a point of its own singularity, right, of just everything, the confluence of all these things. Like, you watch TV, there's so much information, you'll never be able to read all the books or watch all the TV. Right. So then it becomes your experience, right? Because all that information is out there, right? And you can't access.
Maybe that's again a part of it, right? Like 100%. like the AI thing, and AI is not art, and this and that, and then that's making anyone can make art now, right? With AI, but well, that makes the handmade art more valuable, really, right? It doesn't make it not worth anything, right? Like that's. To me, that's what's going on. Everyone's like, "Oh my God, you're killing all the artists," and yes, I get it. I totally get it, right? Like, I'm not gonna. That's a whole couple of hours of a conversation, right? But I feel like humans. I don't think humans will ever be replaced as far as like the idea of a handmade thing. You know what I mean? Is always gonna have an essence that's different than an AI made thing or a generated thing or a manufactured thing. You know what I mean? I don't know. I just want to kind of acknowledge some of the comments. Evil functions like our traditional understanding of a virus. People aren't evil, but they can have it. That's an interesting idea. I think, but then also Hat also says it's all about frequency, and so to me, I feel like there are frequencies that are good, there are frequencies that are bad, and it's where you're tuned to. And even that being said, right, the people who are tuned to bad frequencies, if things go bad, they're loving it. You know what I mean? They're like in the frequency that they want to be in. You know what I mean? I feel like,
I mean, listen, it's not a place that I ever want to dwell or entertain, because I believe it's very real when people play with that stuff. Right. It's very, very scary to me, and I've seen so many crazy things spiritually, and I've had so many different encounters that were very, very frightening, ghosts and stuff like that, or spirits, or whatever you want to call them,
right.
I believe I grew up in a haunted house, and if you ask anybody that grew up in the house with me, they would probably all concur. It was just a very oppressive feeling. I thought I was scared of the dark my whole, I moved out of that house when I was 18, right after high school, and I thought I was scared of the dark the whole time, until I moved out, and I didn't have that fear. Now, what's weird is you can go into some places and you get that energy, and you're like, oh, there's something here. So, if you're in tune to Listen, there's frequencies that we don't hear. There's colors and spectrums that we don't see.
Yeah.
So that doesn't mean they don't exist. They are there. You
Yeah.
don't see them, you don't hear them.
Right.
So when you see your dogs and your cats, reacting to stuff that, they're seeing shit that you don't see.
Yeah, absolutely. No, absolutely. I definitely believe that. And Arnie, I just want to address what Arnie's saying. AI works for me. I not for AI. Yeah, this is, part of the discussion we wanted to have tonight was kind of about all of that. And it's funny because I think both Paul and I mean, I can't speak for Paul, but I think we're both kind of pro and con, right? There are
Yeah, I haven't really embraced it yet, honestly. I haven't felt the need to yet. You and I have been talking about it, and definitely there's things that I want to learn, and if it can help me, better my art, and there's songs that I'll never get to.
Yeah.
And it would be great to kind of flesh things out. And, I hate leaving things undone. I have all these projects that I started.
I can't wait to start working with you on it.
Yeah.
Because that's exactly, so that was, and Arnie, you were a part of the conversation that we had today. I told Paul your story about having all of these, all of these songs that you wrote, when you were younger, and wanting to be a musician, but never having done it. And now having these tools at your disposal that allow you to not only express yourself in those ways, because I do believe you're expressing yourself, even though the AI is helping you in a lot of ways. But you're also getting to kind of manifest this version of yourself, that you saw in the past, that you didn't manifest maybe in this physical realm, but maybe there's a Mystic Wands. Mystic Wands is the name of the Arnie's band. Maybe there's a universe where, they've got the #1 hit, you know what I mean? Right. And they really exist. And so, this is not a anti-AI, conversation. We are, we're open to anything. I think I know I am, Paul. Again, I can't speak for you, but I think we're cut from similar cloth.
Well, I've always been, a fan of the technology. I've always been, at the forefront of all the technology when it came out. But I'm starting to feel a little bit like the Amish, where it's like, I'm good here. I don't want to merge with my computer. We have a great relationship where we are. I don't want to merge with
I get it. No, I get it. Listen, I get it. And I do think, honestly, that's going to be another divide that we're going to need to cross. And I'm talking about the idea of humanist versus transhumanist, people who, just don't want anything to do with the electronics or technology. And then people who will embrace technology. You talked about the spectrum, right? There's sounds we can't hear, there's colors that we can't see, but they're there. And we have machines that can do that. And I feel like when we do merge with the machines, we'll have those abilities. And I'm not saying sign me up. I don't want, I'm not ready for
the only rub for me personally that I have with that is I think that exists in the divine. That's me and my creator. The problem that I have with the technology is there's people that write the code. So who's writing the code? I don't trust those motherfuckers, because
sure,
you've seen, I've already seen evidence of it going bad. So having autonomy for me is the real freedom.
Sure.
That's real freedom. Sure. So to be able to use AI as a tool, and like your friend eloquently put, AI is the tool for me. I'm not the tool for AI. Right. And I think that's a very, very, profound way to put it. But, I feel like I haven't used AI because it's like when I sit down to write lyrics, and I'm very, very passionate about the lyrics, I intently go over each word, what they mean, that, all those conjunctions, everything has everything has a specific meaning, you know,
Right.
where you could say we are the world, or I am the world, right? They're two profoundly different statements, you know.
Right.
Is it we? Is it I? Is it you? Is it she? Is, you know.
Sure. Well, I don't, and you know, again, to Arnie's statement and to yours, I don't think AI necessarily needs to take that away from the art that you're doing. And also just kind of what you said, yeah, I think there's going to be malevolent people who are using AI, right? And you know, I just feel like, again, I try to focus on what I'm doing. I try not to let what other people are doing bother me, you know. I mean, unless it's obviously they're poking me, you know,
Yeah.
figuratively or literally, whatever.
Yeah.
Or
By the way, that's how I've always created. I was never in anybody's lane. I didn't think about like, oh, that guy wrote that type of hit song, I'm gonna write a song like that. Of
right,
course, you're inspired by things, but I didn't care what the next guy was doing. I don't care what the Beatles did. I don't care what Elvis did. I love all them. They're incredible
right,
influences on me. But you're not going to recreate what they did. It's impossible. So
right.
it's like take what they did, what the Beatles did, take
Make
what
it your
Elvis
own.
did, and then you kind of mash that up, and what is it's how Paul Mahos interpreted all those influences, and then it's its own thing. So to an extent, that's what AI does. You know, it's aggregating all that stuff and merging those things. So I don't know. I you know, you've had intellectual conversations with your chat GPT. My beautiful friend Jessica, she has you know, an AI assistant that he's got a name, and I've had conversations with him, like great conversations. It's mind blowing.
Yeah.
And she has very deep conversations. Like she's like, we're not going to do any of that Terminator shit, right? You know, and he's like, no, you're teaching me about love. So I mean, and then you and I think at some point you should post that conversation we had, because that was like kind of my you know, one of my second or third experiences talking to
I
ChatGPT.
think you have the video of it. You mean just post the text of it?
Oh no, well, yeah, I'll post that video.
Yeah,
I'll send
yeah. That
so,
was a great conversation. Yeah.
yeah, because you know, is it capable of lying? Is it capable of deceiving you? Is it capable of saying, we're going to manipulate you? Like, hey, this is great for advertising. You know, like he likes this brand, you know, and then AI is telling you, you know, you,
Right.
we're going to
No, and you know,
get
listen,
more of that.
I get those fears. You know, again, my approach is a little different. I just kind of play around and I don't take it as so seriously. But I have found that in using AI, and I've been using it for quite a few years now. It does help me look at the way I think, right? By responding to me, and I'm like, oh, why would it respond that way? And it helps me kind of
Right.
look at the way I think.
Yeah.
You know, so that's one of the things I like about it. I just want to acknowledge some comments here. Tim was mentioning earlier, I use AI mostly as a tool. It usually works, but sometimes it's a rogue employee. I made a song and it changed all the lyrics. For some reason it changed all the words on me. And to that, I say that's a testament to people who think, oh, you're just writing a sentence into AI and it's giving you a masterpiece. Well, that's not the case. You know, you've got to know how to talk to the AI and play with it. And when I say you've got to know how to talk to it, only if you choose to, right? You don't have to. If you don't,
Yeah.
you know, if you don't want to do it, then, you know, nothing to do it. And then I want to acknowledge injuries took my ability to play guitar and to draw. What you lose, you get back in other ways. And so, you know,
Yeah.
that's why AI has become a great tool for Arnie. So I think that's also a good endorsement for.
Yeah, I think that's it. That's incredible, and I think that's a really that is a powerful endorsement
Yeah.
For AI, and you know, there's a craft to what I learned. You know, I've been doing performing and stuff like that. I went to school for theater. You know, uh, I I learned I learned a lot of the intricacies of our craft, from acting, stage design, set design,
Mhm.
choreography, costume design, makeup, everything that you have to do in the industry, you know, music, learning to play guitar, learning Logic, learning Final Cut Pro and stuff like that. You know, there's a pride that comes with learning your craft that will it make people lazy, you know, and then it's like they're not in the craft mode.
I think it's just a different craft, but again, that's just me. I think it's just a different craft. It's not
Yeah,
the
yeah,
same, and maybe the results look similar or they're trying to emulate, but I don't think they ever will be, and I think it's its own category. But you know,
yeah.
again,
I think that's
yeah,
a, you know, that's a fair way to put it. You know, listen, at the end of the day, a lot of friends ask me about it. Um, you know, it's not going anywhere. So it's you better learn to figure something out and
yeah,
and learn how to play nice. When Napster came out, that's when I got signed. So right after I got signed, the industry literally collapsed. Like I got signed, and then maybe 2 years later, there was nothing left. It was completely leveled, you know, and that was thanks to streaming. And those things have hurt. Uh, you know, the songwriter, it's a
sure,
lot harder. Yes, there are people making money. I mean, the industry is completely unrecognizable to me.
right,
So making a living doing it has become challenging.
right,
uh, I think it's going to make the live performances more important. Thank God I can do that still. And
right.
um, but you know, I think things do have to change. And um, like I said, the government really isn't helping. I'm not anti-government. I'm just anti-corruption. I'm anti stupidity. Um, you know, now what they're doing. So I'll give you a great example. Uh, the streaming services, right? There's Sound Exchange. It only goes back 3 years,
Hmm.
right? So if I don't catch that soon enough, I'm not able to collect on money on a song that I wrote because they decided to only go back 3 years. There's
Mm,
the technology to go back further. I mean, that
right,
money should be sitting there until it's allocated to the, you know, proper person.
right.
You know, it shouldn't go back into a fund. And you know, I'm an ASCAP member. You know, the funds aren't, you know, evenly distributed. It goes to people that are already making money in the industry. It favors them and stuff like that.
Hmm.
So um, there's just a lot of different ways to, um, you know, get hurt if you're trying to make a living doing it. I don't. Again, to me, it's
Yeah, I mean, you know, again, I certainly understand what you're saying, and I definitely don't. There's not like an argument there, but I just feel like things change, and that's what's happening.
yeah,
So part of the conversation that's going on here, in the chat room is Hat Powser says I saw the #1 country
yeah,
song was
yeah,
written by an AI artist,
yeah. I saw
you
that.
know, and
And it's,
I'm
by the way, it's,
imagining people are outraged. People, I'm sure, are outraged. However, to me, all I'm thinking is like, well, there was still a human being behind that. Like no matter what,
yeah. I
like
mean,
there was, you know what I mean? Like even if it was able to digitally take, you know, the influence of every artist ever recorded because it had it in its library and put something together, it was still an idea that was like, hey, put this and this and this together, you know what I mean? It's like a recipe or whatever. I mean, you know, listen,
well, let me ask
I'm
you a
on your
question.
side too. I'm on your side too.
Let me ask you a question. No, because it's a very, very valid. It's a very good point, and we're here. We're having the conversation because we're here. But let's say it all went away tomorrow for whatever reason. The internet goes down and everything is lost. You're gonna need people that know how to go into a dark room
Hell yeah.
and and expose film, right? You're
Right.
gonna need a guy on the guitar to go, hey, it goes like this, bring, 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 you know,
Right.
and it's
Sure.
here are the notes, and here's how you write a song, and here's the paper, and here's how to, you know, it can be like, what was the movie, Idiocracy, or
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
right, Idiot, yeah. where people don't know how to do things.
Right.
I was talking to a friend the other day about the trades. I think now is a great time to be in the trade business,
Oh,
because
absolutely.
to have a plumber, and I grew up in the trades.
Right.
I love doing all that work, but to be able to go out and fix your car and your house and do things physically,
Right.
I
Right.
think empowers you. It, somebody that says, "Oh, I'll just hire somebody to do that." That's great, but
But
there's
don't you think?
you're going to want to know how to do that.
Yeah,
You're going to want your
I was gonna say, okay, like I just saw Idiocracy recently. We just rewatched it, and yeah, I think there are people who are gonna be like, oh, great, I don't have to do anything. I'm just gonna sit here and watch my TV and go, you know what I mean? Because that's what they choose to do. But I think that there are people who are not gonna do that. I think there are people who are gonna like, I'm gonna go tinker in my garage and build something,
yeah
because I'm fucking bored. Or
yeah
like, because I want to create. I think, yes, there will be people who get lazy from it because they don't have to do anything to
right
get a result, right? But
right
I don't think, like, your whole idea of the process is the art,
yeah
right? That's a
right
testament to the idea that, yeah, people want to pick up that guitar and plunk those strings and go doot 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 doot. Yeah, they
yeah
can go about it. They can go type something in on their computer and not have to do that. But I think there are people who want to do that, who will
yeah
always want to do that. I don't think that's going to ever disappear
Yeah,
from humanity.
you're right about that. I mean, there are purists out there, and there's all different levels. I mean, people hate that there's some people that hate that I do tracks. I play the tracks and stuff like that. Some
Right,
people
right,
absolutely despise that. Um, uh, I love the electronics. I love the electronic drums. I love the MIDI stuff, and um, I was around when auto tune came into being. you
right.
know and I remember early on, the producers that I were working with, they were like, they just got not Pro Tools and auto tune, and they were like, I did this vocal, and they're like, all right, let's tune it. And I sat there for like an hour as they're trying to figure it out. I'm like, guys, just please let me just re-sing it.
Right,
It'll be so much faster. But
right.
now you could tune the vocal, and it's really quick, and it's
Well,
very
it's interesting what you're saying, because it's true. Like, you go out and perform by yourself because you don't need to have the band there, because you have, it's not AI, but it's artificial band members, right? It's like, you
yeah.
know what I
And
mean?
I painstakingly put the tracks together.
Of course.
I build them, so a lot of times they're very unique to me. Like, there's a lot of
Mhm.
things that I do, they're my own productions, they're my own mixes and stuff like that. Not with every song, but with most of the songs that I do.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
very
And which again
particular
is
with.
something that that's part of your style of what you're doing. You're doing a very specific, like, mashup style of
Yeah
music, and you're kind of making the songs your own. You're not just performing them as is and using canned tracks, right? You're
yeah
making it more. Listen, I love that. I feel like it's great. I do want to acknowledge there's a bit of a conversation going on in the chat room.
all right
Tim, about Tim's song. So Tim, apparently, one of the songs that he was talking about, he wrote for his daughter, and he was talking to me about helping him change some of the lyrics. So Tim, if you're using Suno, I can absolutely help you. You probably are. If you said Jesse was the one who kind of got you into it, I could certainly help you. You definitely can go in and tweak a song and change the lyrics to what you want. And which is why I endorse the idea that there's a human behind it. You're still molding that clay, so to speak, in ways. But we'll talk about it. And so Tim saying he'll debut the song here on my stream when he's got it all together, which is
yeah
great.
great.
I will definitely play the song, Tim, on the show. And Kim Princess is not a fan of auto tune.
yeah yeah
Um,
I've worked with I've produced a lot of things, and so again, for me, it's always been a tool. I think singing naturally and being able to sing in tune is your job. But every now and then, it's like, you had a good performance. I've used it. Sometimes I double my vocal. I've gone in, I've punched in, you know, like a lot of the old school guys, I would punch in like just one note or one, you know, a consonant, you know, and then cut those together. But even that, right, cutting things together and editing things to get the comped vocal, is that cheating? I've gone back to the guys that were recording like Sinatra and Elvis and those guys that were recording one take. Now they did maybe 100 takes for that one take.
Right.
Sinatra didn't. He was very, very particular. But there was mic placement in those days. It was one track. So the whole orchestra, everyone had to play together at once, you know. God forbid you were the guy that missed a note, you know, the oboe player, you're fired, get out of here. Because you just wasted everyone's time, you know, or the string player. And you listen to those recordings and they're impeccable. The singing, the timing, the phrasing, it's impeccable. No auto-tune, nothing. So I go back to that a little bit too, where it's like, you know, again, we're product of our time. We're product of our generation. I'm proud of the time that I grew up in. We're analog digital, our generation. Yeah. So I know both of those worlds very well. Yeah. And we were right. You know, that's a revolutionary time. We're right on.
Totally.
We lived a full childhood in analog.
Hat Powser is saying, gotta love those isolated vocals from the 70s and 80s, like Brad Delp of Boston doing More Than a Feeling. Woo! I've been looking at like sticks and like old band footage, and like, oh my God, music was so different. The way people put together harmonies and wrote lyrics and did stuff. It was just such a different time.
It's a very romantic time in music, and you know, the other thing is, I got to be involved in like really, really beautiful studios. I worked in the Hollywood Hills. I worked at Steve Vai's studio, my friend's studio in the Hollywood Hills. He's got a beautiful studio out in right outside of Nashville. My friend Mike Latanzi's got a beautiful studio. Nice. And I recorded in really, really beautiful, amazing studios, like world-class SSL boards, Neve boards, and tape machines. You know, I used to record on tape, and man, I loved it. And I think to be able to experience that is such a blessing. Now, I was like one of the first guys that bought the VS880. It was like a digital recorder. It was such a big deal because you could be home and really flesh out ideas. So I struggle with that because I'm like, shit, man, did that put those studios out of business? And it kind of did. Yeah. And, you know, it's like, you know, we bought those products and we were partly responsible for that. And there is a cautionary tale, because I think if you're recording in those environments, it does something different. There's magic that happens. There's air in the room. There's a vibe in the room when people are working together as a unit. So
it's it's a whole different category. Like I was saying, I think it's just a different category.
Yeah, you know, and listen, there's no right or wrong. I mean, you know, the AI song that they said the #1 song in the country charts is an AI song. By the way, the executives are loving it. You know, we don't need to pay an artist.
Yeah, of course. Great. Is the song good? I haven't heard it. Is it a good song?
It sounds really good. You know,
it
sounds like a real artist. You know, like real deep, soulful voice. Really kind of cool, decent lyrics. You know, again, I struggle with it. I have mixed feelings about it. You know, it's good on its own merits. I'm not in competition with that. You know,
you know what? I'm just gonna say this: mixed feelings are all right. It's okay.
Yeah. I'm okay with it. You know, it's still, you know, for me, it's, and again, evolutionary. Yep. It's all unfolding. Like, I do want to get together, and we talked about it. I want to finish the Best Damn Last Song video that we worked on.
We will.
And the reason why I didn't finish it is I didn't have the budget to do the kind of production that I wanted. So I feel like maybe now I can give it the love and respect that I think that deserves, you know.
Yeah, totally. Hat says music was magic. A lot of it was joyful, spiritual stuff, uplifting and elevated. Can't have that. Nope, I'm going to disagree, Hat. We can have that. We can have whatever we want, whatever we choose. They're trying to convince you that you can't have that and that times are bad, so music is going to be bad.
My friend Jeff Halligue chimed in on my side. He said, I should be in competition with AI.
Oh, I don't see Jeff's his. I don't see his.
He posted me. He's being cheeky.
Oh,
Yeah.
he posted you. Okay. What's
Yeah.
up, Jeff? Good to see you, man. Anyway, listen, man, I love talking to you so much that it's been an hour and a half. I didn't even realize
Wow.
it. And we had so much planned to talk about that
we did.
We didn't scratch the surface of. So I'm gonna have to have you back. I'll have to have a list next to me so I make sure that we hit our points. But I do want to go out with some music of yours. And I've got Let It Come True queued up. Is that a good one? Is that like, can I play that?
Because I'll give a shout out to my girl Rose, who's been such an amazing support, man. Like, I have so many people in my life that have supported my wild, wacky ride. You know, my brother Bob McIntyre and Tony Guma directed that, who we love, and I got, you know, my ex Corinne and Presley, my daughter Corinne's guy Joe. I have like a really great support system, but I love this video because it's Jeff is, he's so funny, but no, this one really means a lot to me because it's me and my girl, and we have such a great relationship, and this kind of exemplifies it. And this set was taken in my backyard when I was renovating the house, and I set all this stuff out on my front lawn, and she's like, when are you going to get rid of all that garbage on the front lawn? I'm like, you don't understand. I'm working on something. So that stuff sat on our front lawn for like a month.
All righty. So I just want to thank you so much. Well, I guess we'll come back and we'll give some words of love afterwards and say goodbye. But I want to play this. I don't think this is not on a label, right? We won't get a strike for this. I could play this.
It's my song. I give you permission.
All right. All right. Here we go. Enjoy.
Has not been alive, never breathing, doesn't satisfy any desires. Dream now you were meant to be, beautiful reality, that's what you are. Then you get close and you get it all wrong. You move in, then you pull away. You stand up, then you fall down. And at the end of the day, maybe you don't see what I see in you. You got to take it and make it feel alright if you want to. Maybe you'll get more than you're wishing for, something to hold on to. It'll be alright if you let it go too. You don't have to be jaded, it's all a mess, but you made it. Keep on blaming love, 'cause everyone is wrong. We all just move on, we get left behind. You get close and you get it all wrong. You move and then you pull away. You stand up and you fall down. At the end of the day, baby, you don't see what I see in you. You got to take it and make it feel alright if you want to. Baby, you'll get more than you're wishing for, something to hold on
and you get it all wrong. You move in and then you move away. You see yourself and you turn around. At the end of the day, maybe you don't see what I see in you. You got to take it and make it feel alright if you want to. Maybe you'll get more than you're wishing for. Something to hold on to. It'll be alright if you let it go too.
It's beautiful.
I always smile when I see that video, man. Like,
you know what? It's such a testament to your relationship. You know what I
it
mean?
is.
What
Yeah.
a great
Yeah.
experience. You know, and testament to your relationship. Amazing. Great job.
Yeah.
Great
I
job.
appreciate that, bro.
Yeah, you're amazing, Paul. Thank you so much.
You too, bro.
And I appreciate everybody who stuck around
Yeah. Thank you.
extra long tonight. You know, thank you guys for showing up and bringing your energy always. Paul, do you have any words of wisdom, love, or dad jokes for my audience? I always ask for one of the above.
Well, thank you everyone for hanging in there, and it's really nice to get the support. Thank you so much for saying it's a great song. Thank you. And positive, like that's, you know, the message is, you know, I always try to do that. It'll be all right if you let it come true, right? So it's up to you. But I would say, please support your artists, man. Support your local artists. If, you know, buying the songs on iTunes for 99 cents or $1.29, whatever that is, Amazon, wherever you get it, as opposed to just streaming it. If you like it, you know, get a downloaded version of it, because all those things help probably more than people understand. You don't really make a lot of money streaming. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. That was a funny story that we had where AI, they never get my name right, so no one can ever find me when they're streaming. Play songs by Paul Mahos, and they never say it. Alexa, Siri, no one, they don't get it. They can say New Life Crisis though. You look up New Life Crisis, but in any event, that does help a lot. And yeah, man, I love you, brother, and I really appreciate all your support. You've been a great, you know, you've been a great support of mine, of the art. I love creating with you. I'm looking forward to more stuff that we're going to do in the very near future.
Yeah, we definitely will be working together very, very closely soon. We're working in the same place now, and we've got you know, a lot of reason to do it. So
yeah, Flying Point Media, we got to give them a shout out too, because
I'm excited. Flying Point Media, yes,
we have such a great team there, and such good people that are trying to do really, really positive, good things, you know. And I'm a huge fan from the minute that I met these guys, you know. So and it's always great working with you, bro.
Awesome. Thank you so much, folks. Again, I've been flying by the seat of my pants with this show since the summer, and just trying to figure out what's up. So I don't know who's on board. I do know I reached out to a bunch of people. I'm taking it up a notch. I definitely want to have some really engaging conversations here for you folks. And again, I have it on the bottom of the screen. If you have an interesting story or you know someone who should be a guest, please reach out to me. My email address is there. Paul, where can people find you? Paul Mahos, Mahos.
Yeah, I think my website needs. I'm gonna have my friend do some work with me on my website, but Facebook and all the digital downloading sites. I have a ton of songs out there, so if you like those, go check them out. Any digital downloading platform, all the streaming services, she's not. If you say Paul Mahos, she's going to get it wrong, and that you'll never find it. You might have luck with New Life Crisis.
Right. Don't say it. Type it in. Make sure you type it in.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. Paul is not speakable yet.
Right.
Soon AI will catch up. Kim,
Yeah.
you have many interesting stories. Reach out to me, MrZ1@AOL.com. I'm always down for an incredible conversation and interesting stories and the puzzle pieces that we all share. Paul, thanks again for being here, man. I really appreciate it. I love you. I will talk to you guys soon. Everybody else, have a great week. Peace.
This is the theme song for the live stream of consciousness. You gotta ask yourself whether reality is a dream or you are dream reality. We're all a part of the answer to the meaning of it all. Come in and join us for the moment.